Ready? Hey everyone, I'm Cynthia Conti, and look who I have here. This is a major geek moment for me, a major boxing geek moment. Jim Lampley. Okay, you've been talking a lot about the big fight, Mayweather and McGregor. I know.
I don't regard it as a big fight,
well,
but I'm happy to talk about it if that's what you want.
You know, since you've been in this sport a very long time, do you find it insulting to boxing that an MMA fight and a boxer trying to break Rocky Marciano's record with a non-boxer?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily insulting. I think it's, unfortunate for the sport of boxing that a guy who is attempting to get to a threshold that only one other fighter ever reached and then retired, Rocky Marciano's 49-0, is now getting to 50-0 and gets there by virtue of a walkover against somebody who isn't a boxer. I would not regard it as part of his, quote, boxing record, although I guess officially BoxRec is going to call it part of his boxing record because it's a boxing match with boxing rules. But it's precisely because it's a boxing match with boxing rules that I don't understand why anybody's really interested in it. The notion that somebody with an MMA background and MMA skills is going to come into the ring and beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match, that's absurd on the face of it. And I'm not sure why anybody in the world would believe that there's something there competitive enough to make them want to watch it.
Well, with that, it's on August 26th, and coincidentally, there's also another fight, the Cotto Kamagai fight.
I don't know what's going to happen to Cotto Kamagai. I mean, I have not spoken to anybody from Golden Boy. I haven't even spoken to anybody from HBO about that. So I can't honestly tell you whether Cotto Kamagai is going to go ahead and go on August 26th. There's a way to schedule Cotto Kamagai, even if it takes place out here on the West Coast, as it's intended to do, so that it could be seen on HBO, and then people could switch over to the pay-per-view and see the McGregor-Mayweather thing. So if Oscar wants to schedule it that way and the network is willing to comply, then I could certainly see that happening. But I could also see the possibility that Cotto and Kamagai move to another date rather than to give up viewership to the Riggs King tennis match, which is really what it is to me.
Okay, well,
you're not old enough to remember that. I mean, that's way before you were born. But 45 years ago, Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King played, and the build-up to the match put it on the cover of Time, the cover of Newsweek. It was, an event that everybody had to see. It got a huge rating on network television with Howard Cosell calling the match. And at the end, it was exactly what you would have expected. The great professional tennis player who was in tremendous shape beat the guy who was 70 years old. And we went on to what comes next. It had no particular meaning, no ripples in the pond afterward. And I think that this is going to be exactly the same thing. The great professional boxer is going to beat the person who's from some other background, and then we'll all go forward, and it won't have done anything other than to sell a lot of pay-per-views on one night.
All right. Well, I could just listen to you talk about anything and everything, and especially boxing.
Do you want to talk about Canelo and Triple G? Do you want to talk about Ward and Kovalev?
If I can keep you here for the next 5 hours, yes. Okay, Canelo, Triple G. That's a great fight. What are your predictions?
My prediction is that you'll see sustained violence from the opening bell because it's a great, violent, and ultra-skilled attacker, Gennadievich Golovkin, against a great, violent, and ultra-skilled counterpuncher, Canelo Alvarez. So they're made for each other. They will make a fire, and I think that it'll be give and take. I think both guys have a chance to win the fight. You have to favor Golovkin because he's been weighing in at 160 all of his career, and this will be the first time that Canelo Alvarez has ever weighed in at 160. But beyond that, there are all sorts of reasons to say both guys can succeed, and we just know that they'll be ready and they'll be primed and they'll be perfect because if I had to choose the two boxers in the world who know the most about how to govern their lives and perform as prize fighters, these are the two guys. They have perfect lives. They are quiet and, don't look for the spotlight. When they're not in the ring, they train constantly and are constantly trying to improve their technical skills. They're magnificent athletes. It's going to be a truly great fight.
He makes it sound even more amazing than it already is. Okay, now we have the big fight tomorrow, the rematch between Ward and Kovalev. The first fight, how did you see it?
I saw it as a tremendous fight. The first fight, it was exactly the tactical confrontation that I expected to see between the violent attacker Kovalev and the sophisticated tactician and defender Ward. The first half of the fight belonged to Kovalev. The second half of the fight, Ward readjusted and got the advantage on him. So you got a controversial decision. I could see another very similar fight where both guys get something done. They achieve on opposite, not parallel paths because they do different things. The rounds are close and hard to score, same as the first time around. I could certainly see another controversial decision, regardless of which way it goes, setting up a possible third fight. I could also see the possibility that Ward muffles Kovalev from the very beginning this time because he's had a chance to see him and adjust to what he does, and he wins an easy decision dominated by his technical craft. I could also see the possibility that Kovalev knocks him down again and keeps him down this time, or gets him down again. So, you know, anything can happen. The only thing I know for sure is that they'll show up fighting the same way they fought last time, and it made for a very interesting style matchup.
Wow. You hear all that? I have the legend. He's not even a myth. He's just a legend to me. I have one last question for you, and this is not even about boxing. Where are your sexy red glasses?
Ah, the sexy red glasses are not here today. I've got my sexy black glasses today, okay?
You know, I tweeted.
I don't know if the strings are too geeky for you, you know? Okay?
No.
Some people look at the strings and say, oh my gosh, what a geek. But I'm moving toward wearing these on the air.
Oh, they look great.
What do you think?
They're still sexy.
Good. I appreciate that. Sex appeal is my primary goal.
You know, when you had the red glasses, I tweeted to you, I'm like, you look very sexy in those red glasses.
You know, I don't do Twitter.
I don't know who's tweeting back
I wish I did. There are a couple of fake Jim Lampley Twitter sites,
no.
and I do not do Twitter because if I did social media, which I think is the death of civility, if I did social media, I would be arguing politics 8 hours a day with people I'll never meet. So I have to stay away from that.
Well, thank you, Jim Lampley. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see
All
you.
right, I'm Cynthia Conti for Ring TV. This is awesome.